So why are you beating up your stepfather? And mind you, before you speak, I've already read the police report.
I was
You need to speak up. I can't hear you.
Judgment's wrong, in and out, the verdict's wrong. Oouchie car watch, we've just begun. Oouchie car watch, we're on the scene. Truth's unraveling, what does it mean?
Court
Take
is
care.
calling, thank you, you too. Court is calling 2022 CR 5859, State of Texas versus Thomas Henson. Can I have parties approach and announce for the record for the state?
Captain Pollard for the state.
For the defense?
Monica for defense.
And are you Mr. Henson? Defense, I'm showing you what's entitled discovery acknowledgement. Have you received all the discovery in this case, and did you review that with your client?
We have, Your Honor, and I have.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Mr. Henson, I'm showing you what's entitled application for deferred adjudication or community supervision. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it?
yes, ma'am.
Next, I'm showing you what's entitled true bill of indictment. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
I do, Judge.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
Yes, Judge.
Mr. Henson, I'm showing you what's entitled court admonishments and defendant's waivers and affidavit of admonitions. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it, and did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand you're charged with the offense of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon? That's a second-degree felony. The range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 20 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
If you have a plea bargain agreement with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea bargain agreement. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea bargain agreement and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you, and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand? Did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call on, the right to remain silent? Did you understand by entering this plea bargain agreement, you were giving up those rights? And did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea bargain agreement in this case? Did you understand if the court were to grant your application for deferred adjudication, if for any reason your deferred adjudication were revoked, the court could find you guilty and sentence you up to 20 years in prison and up to $10,000 fine? Did you understand? Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
He has, Your Honor.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
He does.
Do you believe he's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
I do, Judge.
Mr. Henson, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter this plea? Has anyone promised you anything other than the plea bargain agreement? Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented? Are you a U.S. citizen? Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial. Showing you the plea bargain page. Did you review that page with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
According to the plea bargain agreement, there's to be a $500 fine. There's an affirmative finding of deadly weapon. State recommends deferred adjudication. They will take in consideration the following county court cause numbers: 664461, 664462, 71781. And there's an affirmative finding of family violence. Did you understand with an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition? Did you understand with an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to be designated as primary custodial parent? Did you understand that to be the entirety of the agreement? Defense, is that the agreement?
It is, Judge.
State, is that the agreement?
Yes, Judge.
Next, I'm showing you the paragraph entitled waiver of appeal paragraph. Did you review that paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in both places? Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand? Counsel, have there been any such motions?
No, Your Honor.
Next, I'm showing you outside the plea bargain agreement. The state is requesting that your deferred adjudication be for a term of 4 years. There be 240 hours of community service restitution, TAP evaluation, no harmful or injurious contact with Avilio Walters Torres, that's AVILIO, no firearm possession, hostility, and aggression control course. Did you understand those are recommendations from the state, and the court does not have to follow those recommendations? Then to the offense as charged in the indictment, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest? State, any evidence?
Yes, Judge. State would offer what's been marked as State's Exhibit Number 1.
No objection.
Mr. Henson, I'm showing you what's entitled waiver and consent to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places? Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call and the right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports, but most importantly, there will be no live testimony? Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments and review the same. All right, after reviewing states exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty. Court will defer finding of guilt as you apply for deferred adjudication. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
We are, Judge.
Anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
Not at this time, Your Honor.
All right, how old are you?
18.
18? So why are you beating up your stepfather? And mind you, before you speak, I've already read the police report.
Yes, ma'am. I was,
You need to speak up. I can't hear you.
I was just not in my right. I was kind of following like a red.
I can't hear you. Open your mouth and speak so I can hear you.
I have kind of like an issue, and I went about it the wrong way.
No, because I've read the police report. What your issue is that you went to your mom's house where she lives with your stepfather. You asked your mom if she could stay, and you came over there early morning hours. Then you asked your mom for money, and it appears she did not want to give you money. So then you called her the B word, and then your stepfather said, don't speak to her that way. And then you proceeded to beat him up. So what was the issue?
Yes, ma'am.
No, what was the issue?
Me-
Because people, when you ask people for money, they can either say yes or no. So your mother said no, you called her the B word. Why are you calling your mom that word?
I shouldn't have done it.
No, I know you shouldn't have done it, but my question for you is, why did you?
I lost my temper. You know?
Temper what? Because she wouldn't give you money that was her money? Is that what you lost your temper over? The fact that she said, no, I'm not giving you any money? Do you have a job? So if you want money, and this is what I don't understand about some young people, if you want money, then guess what? You get a job and you earn it. Your mom, your father, your stepfather, your brother, your cousin do not have to give you money. You're of age. Are you in school?
No.
So basically you're doing nothing with your life because you're not in school. Do you have a job?
No.
So you're not in school, you don't have a job, you're doing nothing with your life, and you expect your mother to support you. And you want money, and when she tells you no, you call her a B. Where are you living?
My grandpa's.
And how are you treating your grandfather? And does your grandfather even want you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Judge, he has a job interview this week. His grandfather is present in the courtroom today. He is very involved in this case, and he does support my client, and he does want him in that house, and he has done everything he can to ensure that his grandson is taken care of at this point in time.
Do you have children?
No.
If you're drug tested today, what are the results going to be?
Please.
What are you doing with your life other than not working, not in school, calling your mom the B word, and beating up your stepfather? Other than that, what are you doing with your life?
I have ambitions to change my life for the better, Your Honor. I do want to work at a college. That's where my interview is going to be at. And I want to get my GED so that way I could further go to a trade school and become a mechanic.
How far did you go in school?
I made it to 9th grade.
Why did you drop out?
I fell into the wrong crowd, and
Nope. Let me just tell you something about the wrong crowd. If I had some other person standing up before me and they said they fell into the wrong crowd, and I asked them, well, who's the wrong crowd? You know what they're going to say? You are. So I don't want to hear this nonsense about I fell into the wrong crowd, because if you are with the wrong crowd, then you are in that subset of wrong crowd, and you're a part of the wrong crowd, and you are the wrong person. You understand? Let me see his grandfather. Hello, are you his grandfather?
Step grandfather, yes.
step further. Could you raise your hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, you can lower your hand. Could you state your name for the record?
Michael Andrew Mirchuk,
Okay, I'm sorry, spell your last name.
Mierchuk.
All right, so you're the step grandfather. Is your son the stepfather of him?
No, I
Okay.
mean, my wife is his that's his her.
Ah, so your wife is his biological
Yes.
grandmother. Okay. So here's the thing. Does he have rules at your home?
Yes, he does.
All right, and what are those rules?
Right now, especially with the monitor on, he can't do anything. We monitor, we basically told him that once the monitor comes off, the rules are gonna be no drugs, no nothing. He's gonna get a job, gonna get his, we're gonna get him into the GED program, figure that out some way. And hopefully from there, we're gonna make sure he gets better.
All right, and what is his curfew at your house?
He hasn't really had to have one right now, but we're gonna stipulate 10 o'clock at night.
Okay. All right, is there anything else that he needs to do at your house? Do you need him to help clean up? Is that part of his?
Chores are gonna be, he's already doing chores, and his grandmother's already set the rules for what she wants him to do as far as cleanup, laundry, things like that for right now, until he gets his supposedly Friday, tomorrow. He's got the job interview, and hopefully he'll get the job, and we'll work from there after that.
All right, so you're aware that he did beat up his stepfather.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so is there any fear with him being in the house?
No, ma'am.
All right, you all know who to call if there's an issue?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and I'm assuming, I guess, the GPS, you all have been paying for that? Oh, it was waived? Okay.
Yes, Judge, it's kind of an interesting situation when they impose that GPS monitor. He lives within, several hundred yards of the complaining witness in this case. It's just a family dispute. He was not permitted to move in with his grandfather until yesterday, actually, is when we were able to do a carve out from the protective order. So my client had been residing at a short stay hotel, and his grandfather was going over to visit him and take what he needed because he was on house arrest.
Okay, well, he's gonna remain on GPS, and I'm gonna give him a 10 PM curfew. So you can go out, do your job, interview for jobs, he can do chores, but he needs to be back at his grandfather's house at 10 PM, no later than that. If you are 1 minute late without informing probation, what's gonna end up happening is a motion to revoke is gonna be filed against you, and you're gonna come over to court dressed in orange if you can't make bond, and we'll hear the reason why you're late. Do you understand? All right, thank you so much for taking him in.
Your Honor, if there's no violations, let's say within, 90 days, would the court entertain a removal of the GPS?
I'm always willing to entertain whatever motions people bring before me.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much.
And for clarification, this is tracking only, but he is gonna have.
He has a curfew of 10 PM. All right, this is what the court is going to do. It's going to be 4 years deferred adjudication, $500 fine that will be probated. Take in consideration county court cause number 664461, 664462, 671781. There's an affirmative finding of a deadly weapon and family violence. There's 240 hours of community service restitution. 40 of those hours will be waived if you provide proof of the COVID vaccination. The court is not requiring you to get the COVID vaccination, but you have it, including the booster. The court will consider, will allow you to waive 40 of those hours. The remaining hours will be waived if you provide proof of your GED. You must pass that. Do you understand? There's going to be proof of employment within 30 days. There's to be no employment as a home health care provider or with minors. There's to be, of course, no firearm possession. We're going to do the hostility and aggression control course. There's a 10 PM curfew. So probation, outside of work, if he's not at work, he needs to be back in at 10 PM.
Yes, Your
He's
Honor.
allowed to be outside the house from 7 AM to 10 PM only. Now, if, like I say, if he has employment and his work schedule is later than that, but he's saying he's working at a car wash, and I know the car wash is closed probably at like 6 PM. There's to be field visits 2 times per month. And let probation know to check on the grandparents to make sure that everybody is enjoying Mr. Henson's stay. And he's to reside with his grandparents. There's to be no contact with Avilio Torres. If you want that changed, Mr. Torres is going to have to come in.
Your Honor, he's already signed an affidavit of non-prosecution. We've already discussed it on the civil side for their protective order. And we did have the bond already changed to no harmful or offensive contact, but if you.
I'm not doing no harmful or injurious contact because I know what ends up happening. He's married to his mom. He's trying to make the mom happy, but the person before me beat up, and I don't know if it's a senior citizen or not, but he beat up someone who's in a parental role, and that's a big no-no. So if that's going to be lifted, then Mr. Avilio Torres needs to come in here. I'm going to look him in the eye and see and determine whether or not he's doing this just because that's his wife's son. But I have a big concern with a child who's 18, 1, calling his mom the B word, and 2, beating up the stepfather because he tells him, dares to tell him, do not speak to your mother that way. That's a problem. He's all nice and polite to me right now, but I don't know what's happening in that household. So there's to be no contact with Avilio Torres, and you can tell the family that Judge Boyd said that he is not to have any contact with him. And it's not Avilio's fault. I know, and for the record, I'm going to say that Avilio filed a non-prosecution and that I know that it's been lifted on the other side, but I'm not lifting it here. So you don't have any contact with him. You understand?
Yeah.
And if I decide to lift it at some point in time, you had better have your letter of apology and sincerity in that letter for him and for your mom. You only get one mom, you understand? So there's to be no contact with Avilio Torres. There's to be regular UAs. And there's to be regular reporting by Zoom or in person. Probation, is there anything else he needs? Is there anything else you need from me in order to be successful? All right, I'm going to show you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it? Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand? And because this is an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand? All right, we can go off the record. Good luck to you. Here's the thing. You better start treating your moms right. Moms don't last forever, and they're not going to be on the planet forever. Don't be that person who's in an imitation of life, running behind a coffin after you had treated your mom so badly, because people are not going to be sympathetic towards you. You understand? All right, good luck to you. Probation is going to go over your condition. Are you all ready?
Maybe. Yeah, we're ready to approach.
All right, Thomas Henson, come down. All right, so we're set for a motion to revoke. Is this going to be a plea on the motion, or is this going to be contested?
Your Honor, it's a situation where there had been an offer to plea for treatment, but he's got a new number 1 in County Court 7 that he's not taking responsibility for, so they can't take him to inpatient treatment. So we're kind of stuck.
All right, so I don't know what the docket is in number 7 in their
It's in the
jury
impact
trials.
court, and it's under Stohansky, who does not let cases linger. is set for the 18th of October.
All right. All right, Ms. Ferguson. That misdemeanor jury trial shouldn't last that long. So can you set this for a contested the week of October 23rd?
Okay.
That works.
And what date? October 23rd? Yes. All right, your contested hearing will be on October 23rd. All right, thank you. Is there anything else?
No, get that here.
All right, thanks. Thomas Henson. Oh, just 1 second. Are you all ready to proceed on the motion?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, is this going to be contested or no?
No, Your Honor.
All right, I don't have I do. All right, the court is calling 2022 CR 5859, State of Texas versus Thomas Nathaniel Henson. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state,
Zach Dunn for the state.
for the defense?
Catherine Valenzuela.
Are you Thomas Henson?
Please remove.
I'm going to show you what's entitled Motion to Enter Adjudication of Guilt and Revoke Community Supervision, and state's motion to supplement motion to enter adjudication of guilt and revoke probation. Did you review those documents with your attorney? Did you understand them?
Yeah.
Are you the same Thomas Nathaniel Henson who was placed on deferred adjudication in 2022 CR 5859 for the offense of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon on September 15, 2022 for a period of 4 years?
Yes, ma'am.
State?
Your Honor, on or about the 11th day of August 2023 in Bear County, Texas, the defendant, Thomas Nathaniel Henson, committed the offense of assault in violation of condition number 1.
How do you plead to that? True or not true?
True.
State?
And Your Honor, there's an agreement.
The other allegations?
There are none, Your Honor.
Are you waiving?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, any objections to the waivers?
No objection to the waivers. Your Honor.
All right, did you understand by plea and true to violation of condition number 1, the court could find it true, grant the motion, find you guilty, sentence you up to 20 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine?
Yes.
Knowing that, do you still wish to plead true to violation of condition number 1?
Yeah.
Court will find violation of condition number 1 true. Is there an agreement?
There is, Your Honor. We had an agreed recommendation to continue and for DDRF.
That is understanding, Your Honor.
All right, probation, is that your recommendation?
Yes, Your Honor.
What is the wait time for DDRF?
Honor.
The wait time is 6 to 13 weeks. Do we have any other alternatives?
State ISF cognitive track, Your Honor. That wait time.
All right, but will that address the issue? Because DDRF, I'm assuming there's a mental health issue.
And Your Honor, that had been the first recommendation. Then he did the tap about, and that's why we got to NDRF. But the first recommendation had been ISF cognitive.
All right,
Sorry.
no problem.
So yes, the original recommendation was for the state ISM cognitive track, but we did an updated tap while he's been in Bear County, and the recommendation changed for DDRF due to the mental testing.
All right, so the new number 1, who is the complainant? I mean, what is the relationship?
She's been my girlfriend.
Girlfriend. All right, and are we doing no contact with the girlfriend?
I believe there had been, she did sign an affidavit of non-contribution. We did enter plea to proceed with the treatment that he believes he does need, Your Honor.
All right, so I'm going to order no contact with that person. And then once his mental health is stable, we'll do something different. Do you understand? I'm sorry, you need to speak up. All right, so do you have anyone else that you can live with? Mother,
I wasn't just living with her, she was living. She was staying.
okay, you're mumbling. I can't understand. I can't hear you in the court report. I can't hear you.
I wasn't living with her. She was staying with me, so.
All right, so do you have your own place?
Yeah.
So who are you living with?
Yes, I was staying with my grandma.
All right, so you need to stop inviting people to live with your grandmother when she's already have you living with her. You understand?
And
So were you supporting yourself at all? Or were you just dependent upon your grandmother?
I mean, I wasn't paying rent, but I wasn't.
Were you working? I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Sometimes.
So that means that you're not bringing in a stable income and you're bringing somebody else into your grandmother's house. That's a big no-no. You understand?
Yes.
All right, probation, anything with Center for Healthcare Services or?
Your Honor, I think. And I know that the state waived and abandoned the other allegations, however. He last reported to probation in March. So that's a concern for us. Right before he absconded, he did produce one negative UA, the others were positive. He did not complete his hostility management course that was originally mandated. I think our concern would be that he would abscond again without actually getting the help that is necessary.
All right, do you want to go to prison? Because we can do that. Then why are you behaving as though you want to go to prison by not reporting? That's the easiest thing on the planet to do. You're obviously not working really. So you're just watching television with your grandmother or something, or putting a burden on her where she has to feed you and then you're bringing a girlfriend into the house. That seems like all you were doing and not doing well on probation. Do you want to go to prison for up to 20 years? All right, this is what I'm gonna do. I'll deny the motion. There's to be no contact with the complainant, whatever her name is, give that to probation. So the complainant and condition number 1, you are not to have any contact with her. Do you understand? So as far as your probation is concerned, that relationship is over. Do you understand? Do you have any children with her? So that relationship is over. If you end up violating my order and having contact with her, you could potentially go to prison for 20 years. Do you understand? And we're going to do state ISF cognitive and substantive track. And then we'll see where that leaves us.
Okay, Your Honor, I do want to point out that the way that state ISF is being ran now, it's not a double track anymore. It's either one or the other.
We'll do cognitive.
Thank you, Judge.
And then after that, when he's released, we'll put him on GPS, partial for work, until further notice. And you to reside at your grandmother's house. You understand?
And Your Honor, for Mr. Henson's benefit, what are you looking for, or what is the court looking for so that he could get off GPS? I mean, just so that he knows, like, if he's always reporting, attending.
Oh, he needs to show me that he's actually taking this probation seriously.
Okay.
If you're not taking it seriously, what's going to end up happening is a motion to revoke is probably going to be filed. And instead of you worried about GPS, you'll be looking at potentially 20 years in prison. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right. And see probation if those fees can be waived.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. All right. Are you all ready? Is this a motion to revoke?
Yes.
All right. Could I have a file stamp for a motion to revoke, please? Thank you. And this is the only case he has?
He has some other ones. We're just gonna update you right now, Judge.
All right, so what's the update?
UUMB and evading arrest, detention, arising out of the sleep episode, the assault bodily injury assignment. Well, alleged to occur at.
All right, so are we proceeding on this MTR or are you all asking for
We're
continuance?
asking at least 2 weeks. I would like to try to contact the complainants, and I would like to decide if we are going to try to resolve the evading arrests as part of a plea on the MCR, or if we will reject it.
Okay. So how much time do you all want?
I'd like 2 weeks, Your Honor.
Yeah, that's fine with me, Judge.
All right, Ms. Ferguson, on this case, if you'll recall it in 2 weeks. All right, it'll be September 12th.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, do you have any questions?
No, Your Honor.
All right, we'll see you back on September 12th. If your attorney wants you brought over sooner, he will request it and we'll bring you over sooner. All right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. All right, the court is calling 2024 CR 009236W, State versus Thomas Henson. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state
Andrew Harris, David.
defense?
Attorney Alvarez for Mr. Henson already, Your Honor.
All right. And does he also have a motion to revoke as well?
Yes, Judge.
Does,
Two
Your
do. I don't know how the court wants to handle that.
All right. Well, we're going to do the motion to revoke first. The court is also calling 2022 CR 5859. All right. Are you Mr. Thomas Nathaniel Henson?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you review the document entitled Motion to Enter Adjudication of Guilt and Revoke Community Supervision with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you the same Thomas Nathaniel Henson who was placed on deferred adjudication in 2022 CR 5859 for the offense of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon on September 15, 2022 for a term of 4 years? Is that you? All right, state.
Violating condition number 1 on or about the 4th day of July 2024 in Bear County, Texas, the defendant Thomas Nathaniel Henson committed the offense of evading arrest for detention violation of condition 1.
How do you plead to that? True or not true?
It's true.
State, do you waive other violations?
Waive the remaining violation allegations, Your Honor.
Any objection?
No objections, Your Honor.
Did you understand by pleading true to violation of condition number 1, court could find it true, grant the motion, find you guilty, sentence you up to 20 years in prison and up to $10,000 fine? Knowing that, do you still wish to plead true to violation of condition number 1? Court will find violation of condition number 1 true. Is there a proposed agreement?
Yes, Your Honor. Adjudicate guilt, but continue Mr. Henson on supervision.
All
I think
right.
that was partially, part of the agreement, Your Honor. We were also going to be asking, obviously, if you would consider, continuing him and keeping him on the deferred after further testimony.
All right. Now that I've taken his plea of true on that, let's proceed with the new case. Counsel, have you received all of the discovery?
I have, Your Honor.
Did you review it with your client?
Yes, Your Honor.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Mr. Henson, did you review the document entitled Waiver of Indictment, Reading of Information and Rights under Article 1.051 and 26.03 of the Code of Criminal Procedure?
Yes.
Did you understand you have a right to have a grand jury review the evidence in this case and make a decision on whether or not to indict and hold you over for trial? Did you understand that your attorney has certain rights, namely 2 days from the presentation of the information and 10 days from the presentation of the information to prepare for jury trial? Did you understand by entering this plea, you were giving up those rights?
Yes.
And did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in this case?
Yes.
All right, court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived indictment, reading of information and rights on Article 1.051 and 26.03 of the Code of Criminal Procedure. Did you review the information with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the information?
We do, Your Honor.
State, are you proceeding on the information as presented?
Yes, Your
Did you review the document entitled Court Admonishments and Defendant's Waivers and Affidavit of Admonitions with your attorney?
Yes.
Did you understand it and sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes.
Did you understand you're charged with evading arrest detention with a vehicle That's a third-degree felony. Range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 10 years in prison and up to $10,000 fine. Did you understand? If you have a plea with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you enter plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand? Did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call in the right to remain silent?
Yes.
Did you understand by entering this plea, you were giving up those rights? And did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in this case?
Yes.
Did you understand if the court were to grant your application for deferred adjudication, if for any reason your deferred adjudication were revoked, court could find you guilty and sentence you up to 10 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine?
Yes.
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
I do, Your Honor.
Do you believe he's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Henson, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter the plea?
No.
Anyone promise you anything other than the plea?
No.
Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented?
Yes.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial. Did you review the plea bargain page with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes.
According to the plea, the state is recommending community supervision. They'll be silent on your application for deferred adjudication. It's to run concurrent with 2022 CR 5859. They're taking in consideration 2024 PF 06107, 2024 PF 06357. Did you understand that to be the plea?
Yes, sir.
Defense is at the plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
State is at the plea.
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you review the waiver of appeal paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it in both places?
Yes.
Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Yes.
Counsel, are there been any such motions?
No, Your Honor.
Outside the agreement, the state is recommending that your community supervision be for a term of 5 years. There'll be a TAP evaluation, 200 hours community service restitution, and no contact with Susie Castaneda. Did you understand those were recommendations from the state and the court does not have to follow those recommendations?
Yes.
Then to the offenses charged, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
State any evidence?
Containing exhibit attachments, Your Honor.
No objections, Your Honor.
Did you review the waiver and consent to stipulation of testimony and stipulations with your attorney?
Yes.
Did you understand it and sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state will call in the right to remain silent?
Yes.
Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witness statements and police reports, but most importantly, there will be no live testimony? Did you understand? Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments, and the court will review the same. All right, do y'all have something that shows him identified as D1? It has him as S1. And based upon what I've read in the police report, it appears that he is D1, but, I deal with the four corners of the
I
document.
understand it.
So the only persons who are identified, they have someone, D1 and C1, and they have D1 as the driver. So does anyone have any identifiers of who D1 is?
I can pull it up,
All right, thank you.
I have looking at.
Okay, thank you. And then this is gonna have to be set for a PSI if there's sufficient evidence to find him guilty.
Yes, Your Honor.
And Norma, what will be a PSI date for this? Okay. Okay. I'm just waiting for them to give me more information. Yes.
Ben says no objection. I would like to supplement State's Exhibit 1.
I have no objection, Your Honor.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, then the stipulations will be supplemented with the document given to the court, which has the identifiers. After reviewing that document, the court will find there's sufficient evidence to find you guilty. The court will defer finding of guilt as you've applied for deferred adjudication. This will be set for sentencing on October 28th, 2024. I'm going to order a PSI and TAP, and at that time, I'll let you know whether or not I will follow your plea bargain agreement. All right, is there any other questions? All right, and then we'll take up the motion to revoke on that date as well. All right,
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're
May I be
welcome.
excused?
yes,
You have a good day.
thank you. Let's hear on Thomas Henson. So before we go on the record, we did do a plea of true on the motion to revoke. Was the motion to revoke heard?
We just did a plea of true, Judge,
Okay,
and then we reset along with the plea.
all right. Court is calling 2024 CR 0092366W, State of Texas versus Thomas Henson. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Andrew Harris, Edelman.
Defense?
Attorney Albert Oswald for Mr. Henson.
Are you Mr. Henson?
Yes, ma'am.
You entered a plea of no contest on September 12th to the offense of evading arrest detention with a vehicle. According to the plea bargain agreement, the state is recommending community supervision. This is the run concurrent with 2022 CR 5859. State is taking in consideration 2024 PF 06107, 2024 PF 06357, and the state is silent on your application for deferred adjudication. Have both parties had a chance to review the PSI report, state,
Yes, Your Honor.
defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections?
None from the state, Your Honor.
No objections, Your Honor.
Any witnesses from the state?
Not from the state, Your Honor.
Defense, any witnesses?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, call your first witness.
I'd like to call Denise Torres. Yes.
All right, can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand. State your name for the record.
Denise Torres.
All right, there's no need to be nervous. Let me just tell you, my job is to listen to whatever evidence that's being presented to me and make a decision on whether or not to, oh. There are two things that I'm doing here today. One, seeing whether or not I'm going to follow this plea bargain agreement that they have reached. And two, whether or not I'm going to continue him on deferred adjudication or whether or not I'm going to revoke him. So I'm just trying to get information. All right. Make sure you keep your voice up so that the court reporter can hear and so that I can hear. All right, defense.
Ms. Torres, what's your relationship with Mr. Henson?
I'm his mother.
Okay. And we've kind of spoken about his mental health and substance problems. Is that correct?
Yes, we have.
And can you just provide the court with a little additional information? When did you start having problems with Mr. Henson in regards to his mental health issues?
I would say we noticed his mental health issues when he was about 12 years old.
And during that period, were you able to get him treated at all?
He's been in and out of different rehabs in San Antonio. We've tried different medications and we've continued it all the way till he was about 16.
And during this period, was he also having trouble in school?
He was having trouble in school as far as peer pressures and falling into the wrong crowd.
All right, and I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yes,
When you
ma'am.
speak, if you could turn towards the court reporter.
Yes.
And counsel, if you want to stand over there and ask her a question that way, so it won't seem so awkward for you, you can
Okay.
do so.
I guess, let me rephrase and ask the question again. I know he was seeing mental health providers or counseling at that time,
Yes.
but in conjunction, was he having trouble using substances?
Yes.
And when was the onset that you first discovered that he was using drugs?
I would say for me personally, I truly realized it when he was about in the 7th grade. So that's 12, 13 years old.
And as a result of that, did he stop going to school?
Yes, eventually he did stop going to school. He dropped out. I took him, I have moved him from school to school to school to try to get him away from the crowds, try encouragement, give him different environments while still being treated by both psychiatrists and psychologists on regular meetings and medication.
And at that point, would you say that you lost control? You had no control over his decisions?
I would say by the time he turned 16, I got to the point where I felt like I had no control anymore.
And then he moved out of your house?
He did move out. He moved out of my house at the time of the incident was because I noticed he was supposed to be at work. He quit coming home from work, so I was trying to track him down, and that's when I realized he was out with his friends again. So it's at 16.
Okay. And when he moved out, do you know where his whereabouts was at that time?
I would say for about a year, no. I did not know where he was at for about a year, so I know at that point for sure he was not taking any medication.
And do you believe he was using drugs at that time still?
Absolutely.
And my understanding is at some point, he would live with your mom as well, right?
Yes, he would go over there.
And does she live close to you?
She lives 2 houses down and we live on the same street.
Okay. And during that period, do you believe that, or was he getting any treatment as far as his mental health issues?
I don't think so. I know that when he left my house, he did take his medication. I gave it all to him. But then at that point, I don't think he was taking his medication, even though I would provide it. I would fill his prescriptions. I would give them to my mom, but I don't know if it was the environment. It was just really hard for her to literally give them to him and make them take it.
Just a moment. Let me wait till they finish talking over
Yes,
here.
ma'am.
All right, you may continue.
And has Thomas ever received any substance treatment at all?
For substance abuse, not that I know of, no. I have always tried to treat him for mental, for just helping with whether it was ADHD or his bipolar depression. It was depression at the time. Sorry.
And do you believe him not taking medication for those mental health issues? As a result of that, he was self-medicating
Yes,
and using drugs?
yes, I think that's what he was doing.
You understand what we're here for today, correct?
Yes, I do.
And what are you asking the court to consider as she hears this testimony?
I asked that from the beginning, I wanted to have help. And help for his drug addiction. And I wanted to find. For me, I always thought it was the depression, anxiety. I suffer from anxiety. But he doesn't need the illegal drugs. He doesn't need to be taking all of these pills and things to cope and get through day by day and realize that his life is important.
And do you think
I
it's
want him
something,
to have.
do you think this is something that it would benefit him from receiving this help in custody? So that he doesn't have any access to these illegal substances?
As much as I miss him, as much as I want. I know it's best for him to get the treatment in custody versus.
And do you believe these charges that he's picked up in the last few years are as a result of his substance abuse?
I know they have, and they have with every single one. I've seen him, been around him, when he's arrested. I'm always the first phone call. And I'm the one that has to tell the officers that he's probably on something, he's unclear here, and he's ended up in the hospital every single time, almost overdose.
Is there anything else that you want the judge to know about your son?
Uh, He's my son, and I love him so much. He is a good kid, and I know we all say that. He truly is. When he's sober. And when he's not sober, he won't come around me because he knows I could see through him. And when I see him and he's under the influence, and it scares. Because it's not him. It's not him doing these things or actions.
And just for a brief second, I want to touch on the motion to revoke probation. This is sentencing. This first part is sentencing for the new case. But the underlying probation case, the ag assault, the complainant, my understanding is your husband, right?
Yes, it is.
And that he's supposed to have a no contact order with him, right?
Correct.
And is it true that your husband wanted to be here today?
He did want to be here today. He was scared to come. He didn't want to make everybody nervous.
No, he can appear by Zoom.
I told him that he's available.
Oh, yeah.
We may be able to accommodate that, Judge. But just as far as that, my understanding is, he wants your son to get that same help, correct?
Yes, he does. Ever since the beginning, from their charge, whenever the DA would call, he would tell them, I don't want to press charges. It wasn't him. We want him to have help. Ever since the beginning, we've said, we just want him to have help with the drug problems.
Okay.
And no matter how many we have to put him in, they let him out.
And just kind of to update the board to give him a refresher. When he got out of ISF, because he did go to ISF, is that correct?
Yes, he did.
And it was just for the cognitive track?
Correct.
y'all did reapproach the judge and ask her to see about amending that condition, right?
Yes, we did, because we want him in the house because it's together we can work and give him that environment and the support that he needs. And at the same time, I know he would. It's harder for him to break those rules.
And do you recall at that time that he tested positive for marijuana?
I do.
And then the judge subsequently had him UAing and eventually hopefully getting clean before he
Correct.
made that decision?
Correct. He was supposed to have 30 days.
And at that point, you know, he had kind of fallen back to that same issue, using drugs again, right?
Yes.
Again, we're telling the court at this point that you believe it's in the best interest of him if given an opportunity to get treatment in custody, correct?
Yes.
Pass the witness, Your Honor.
Any questions?
Just one. If the court offers your son the help that you want him to get, what makes you think that he'll take advantage of it?
Because I know he wants it after instances when I try to talk to him about what happened, or if he remembers, there's times he doesn't, there's times it's flashbacks. And he knows and it's accepted that he does have a problem. And I just want to help get him to get that support. And I know if he goes into a treatment, then he's gonna have that, the support, the ways, the avenues, and he's gonna be sober. And he's gonna start realizing.
I don't have any more questions, Your Honor.
All right. How old is your son?
My son is 20.
All right. So here's the thing. I appreciate your coming in to testify. But whatever decision that I make, it's not your fault. Because he's an adult. And decisions I make are based upon evidence that I hear. And there are consequences for actions. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you so much for coming down. Any other witnesses?
I'd just like to call one other witness, Judge,
Sure.
Michael Mirchuk.
Excuse me, Judge, they can speak directly to you. That little black box there, I
Okay.
can hear.
All right. Thank you. Can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right. You can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Michael Mirchuk,
All right. Defense.
Mr. Mirchuk, what's your relationship with Mr. Henson?
grandfather.
And has Mr. Henson ever lived with you?
Yes, he has.
During what period did he start living with you?
He started living with us when he was 3 months old, all the way up until really now. We've been incarcerated for jail and whatnot. He's been in and out living with us for 20 years.
And during this period that he's lived with you on and off, did you notice any problems that he was having?
Oh, yeah, he's had, up until he was like 12 years old, 13 years old, he's a great kid. I mean, he's got a black belt in karate or taekwondo. We worked with him to get him the best help, and, you know, we're grandparents, we spoiled him, we made sure and tried to get him everything he wanted. And then he just changed, I guess you could say, a little bit. From being, you wanted to be more than a kid to and get to do the things, you know, a teenager would do, which was the wrong things at the time, because we didn't, me and his grandmother didn't know some of those things that he was doing outside. I mean, we were grandparents, we just were there for him. So come to find out that the wrong people he was doing things with and whatnot, we found all these things out after the fact.
Well, and let me ask this. I know you said you found after the fact. Did you ever experience his, you know, any problems with him while he was at your house as far as drug abuse?
We didn't even know he was taking drugs in our house if we wouldn't allow it. Everything he did was outside of our house. If anything was ever found in our house, it was found by his mother going through his, you know, he had his own room and whatnot, but us, we just thought he was a good kid. You know, he's doing the things that he was supposed to do.
You were always there to provide a bed for him, correct?
Yes.
And do you believe, just knowing a little bit more about, the issues that he was going through, is that he needs drug help?
Yes, he needs help, both mentally and drug wise.
And, then, the same thing I had asked your daughter, you believe it's in his best interest to get that help in custody?
Yes,
Just so that he doesn't have any of those things around him?
that's correct.
Um, I know she also mentioned that he stopped going to school around seventh grade. Did you try to encourage him during that period?
Oh, we tried, I mean, my wife and I would take him to school to make sure he got there. I mean, we'd pick him up and take him, and we thought he was going to school and doing the things he was supposed to. Instead, we, come to find out that skipping, and I guess he's going with his buddies, doing the drugs thing and anything else he probably wasn't supposed to be doing.
And why do you think, he deserves an opportunity to get that type of treatment while being on probation, since he's messed up?
We just know he's a very good kid, and he just needs help. He might be an adult right now, but he's still a kid, really at heart. And I guess he just needs to grow up and learn that his actions were wrong, everything he's done, and try to find a way to become an adult. And hopefully with help, he can do that.
Is there anything else you want to tell the judge?
Just that I hope that you help him favorably, and that since he does need help, I know he is an adult now, but a lot of the stuff that he did do, he was a kid prior to that. Maybe he should have gotten help, 2 or 3 years ago, instead of, waiting till now, unfortunately, through all the trouble he did get himself into. And we're just praying and hoping that you'll do that for him.
And just one other thing, your wife Laura is also here in the audience, correct?
She is.
I'll pass it over to her.
Any questions?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you so much for coming down.
Thank you.
Judge, no other witnesses, just Mr. Henson.
Okay. Mr. Henson? You want to raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Thomas Henson.
All right, make sure you keep your voice up. So other than getting more tattoos and picking up a new offense, what have you done on probation? All right, he's done nothing on probation. What am I supposed to do with that?
All right, proceed, Your Honor.
Yes.
Mr. Henson, we've gone over the TAP evaluation and also the MTR, is that correct?
Yes.
And you've taken responsibility for your actions, correct?
Yes.
You waived indictment and took a plea in the evading, correct?
Yes.
You understand that there were certain conditions that were required of you while on probation, right?
Yes.
At some point, the judge ordered ISF cognitive treatment. Did you complete that?
Yes.
And did you receive any benefit from going to that?
Other than it being like a sanction, not really.
I mean, when you say not really, why was it not a benefit to you?
I wasn't really taking it serious at the time. It was more of like I felt like a punishment, like a sanction from home, and I probably could have made more of it, but I didn't.
And during that period, did you receive any substance treatment in conjunction with it?
No.
When you say you didn't take it serious, can you explain to the court, as we apply for probation and ask for inpatient services for substance treatment, why you would take it serious now?
Yeah, I'm tired of being a disappointment. I want to show my mom that because they're being so supportive of me, I don't want to let them down. I want to do everything right for them instead of thinking about being selfish and thinking about myself.
And you understand only you can treat yourself during this part. It's not up to them, it's up to you, right?
Right.
And that if the judge gives you an opportunity by ordering these services, that she's essentially giving someone else's chance to you. And you telling her that you didn't take it serious the first time is a problem, right?
Right.
What kind of drugs have you used?
Opiates, amphetamines, Xanax, weed.
And every single time you've committed offense, have you been under the influence?
Yes, sir.
And have you ever tried to kick these addictions?
Multiple times I've tried but not wanted to. That makes sense.
Okay. And do you think you would benefit from going inpatient to receive this treatment?
Yes,
And are you motivated to get this treatment?
yes, I'm motivated.
What are some of the things that you would do while in custody getting this treatment to be successful to remain sober?
Make a plan so whenever I get out, I can stay sober and complete probation. If I could just stay sober, I don't see myself having any troubles completing my probation.
And do you have any goals in life?
Yes,
And what are those goals?
I want to go to cosmetology school and so I could do hair and nails, become a barber.
And you stopped going to school at the in 7th grade, give or take. Did you ever try to complete your GED?
Yeah, I enrolled in some classes, but I never ended up making it to them.
While you've been in custody, have you made any efforts to try to get enrolled in the GED program?
I'm on the waiting list right now.
Okay, so you've actually signed up for it?
Right.
You understand right now, you're asking the court for, I'd say, a 4th opportunity, 5th opportunity, right?
Right.
That prior to this, when you came forward on that MTR and they denied that MTR and continued you, she gave you an opportunity then. Is there a reason that you didn't express that you needed drug treatment at that point?
No, at that point, I just wanted to go home. I just wanted to go home.
And at this point, you realize that you can't do it on your own, right?
Right.
And that in order to be successful, though, if the court allows and gives you a structured environment, you're telling the court that you can be successful?
Yes.
What type of work have you done in the past?
Car washes, fast food.
And when's the last time that you were employed?
Probably 2 months prior to July,
What were you doing then?
a car wash.
And then you stopped working
Yes, after I relapsed, I stopped showing up.
and you turned back to drugs
Yes,
and you were involved in this offense?
right.
You understand how serious it is to evade?
Yes,
You understand that you're putting people in danger,
yes,
not just yourself? That it's a selfish decision?
yes,
And are you acknowledging that you make that mistake today?
yes,
And you're asking the court, are you begging to her that you want this treatment?
yes. I want the treatment. I want to do. I'm motivated now to do it for real this time.
Is there anything else you want her to consider? But you're asking her to put you on deferred adjudication probation? And you're asking for substance treatment?
Yeah.
That's what it's wrong.
State, any questions?
No question, but I do have some observations, if you'll allow me.
Yes.
Mr. Acevedo allowed me to speak with Mr. Henson, and in speaking with Mr. Henson, I observed that he expressed more than mere self-pity over the situation in which he's gotten himself into. He expressed regret for the negative consequences that his actions had on other people, not just the victim in this offense, but also for his family. He did not blame other people for his own actions, and he recognized that his actions are caused, perhaps cause is not the right word, but are an extension of a substance use disorder. I respected his honesty. I don't respect the crimes that he's committed, but I do respect his honesty. And the state's agreement is an effort to thread the needle between holding him accountable for his poor choices and trying to help him get the help that he needs and that he recognizes that he needs. That's all.
All right, what have you done on probation since 2022? Because you were placed on probation September 15th, 2022. I placed you on 4 years deferred adjudication. There were cases that were taken in consideration. I ordered 240 hours of community service restitution. Have you, and I said I would waive that if you obtain your GED. Have you obtained your GED? So since 2022, have you worked on obtaining your GED? I'm sorry.
No, ma'am.
All right, I ordered that you provide proof of employment within 30 days, no employment as a home health care or with minors. Did you provide proof of employment with probation?
To a certain amount of time until I lost my job.
All right, you didn't lose your job, you quit or you were fired, am I correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So were you fired or did you quit?
I stopped showing up.
All right, so don't make it seem as though you were doing your job and somehow magically you lost your job. That was not the case. You decided to get high, like the rap song says, you know, I was gonna get my GED, but I decided to get high. You need to listen to that rap song because everything they were supposed to do, they didn't do because they wanted to get high. So the anger control course, anger aggression control course, did you take that?
No, no.
All right, I ordered you to do that. You haven't done that since 2022. There was a 10 p.m. curfew I ordered. So did you abide by your curfew?
No.
All right, you're supposed to reside with your grandparents. Did you up and leave your grandparents and not reside with them any longer? All right, you were not supposed to have any contact with your stepfather. Did you have contact with him? Did you have contact with your stepfather?
Yeah.
All right, so why are you telling me no?
Well, it wasn't like I was every day, you know what I mean? It was just-
And when you had contact with him, did you cause confusion and destruction of property?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. There's supposed to be regular UAs for people to test you for drugs. Did you do that? All right. You were supposed to regularly report by Zoom or in person. Did you do that?
No.
All right. So then what ends up happening? There was a hearing said it was supposed to be contested. And between those two cases, we had compliance hearings where I've asked him if he had any issues. And then October 23rd, 2023, there's a new number 1. And you pled true. And the state waived other violations. I denied the motion and I altered amended conditions to have no contact with the complainant. In 2023, after I told you were not to have contact with the complainant, did you continue to have contact? All right. And did you cause destruction of property?
Yes.
All right. So then I ordered state ISF. And the reason why state ISF cognitive was ordered, because obviously there was something wrong with his thought processes. Did you take advantage and learn anything from that?
No, ma'am.
Right. Then I wanted to do GPS. And I gave him partial for work until further notice. And he was to reside at his grandmother's home. Did you reside at your grandmother's home? And then we come back because this is where the drug use comes in, because he came in and he tested positive for marijuana. So on April 11th, I ordered 90 sober meetings in 90 days, and this probation was to do testing and test you for levels. Did you do those 90 sober meetings?
They didn't.
Did you do even one?
No.
Right. And did you allow probation to test you? Okay. And then we came back on August 22nd, 2024, because the state was going to complete with the speak the complainant. And then on September 12th, there was a plea to a violation of condition number 1. So what we're here for is, why should I even continue him on probation? Why shouldn't he go to prison? It appears that he doesn't want to do anything. It appears to the court that you don't want to be on probation. You rather get high. You rather cause devastation and destruction with your parents, because you haven't done anything on probation other than get new tattoos. And some of those appear to be gang tattoos. That's all you've done. So other than get gang tattoos and get your face tatted, which I tell people, unless you're moving towards a specific occupation, you really shouldn't be doing the face tattoos because it makes it hard for employment. So other than the gang tattoos, and the piercings and the dollar sign, which you're not working, so I don't know if that's an aspiration or gang stuff. So other than the gang tattoos and the more piercings, what have you done that would make me think you would be successful on probation in this court?
Nothing, Your Honor.
So why should I even give you probation? Because all you've done is cause destruction. The car you were riding in for the evading was a stolen vehicle. That's why they were trying to pull you over. The complainant you were in the passenger you were with, they got out, took off running as you did. So you haven't done anything. All you're coming to me is with your hands open, with the state saying, and your counsel saying, well, I think he's internalized this time. You brought me nothing as a reason for why I should continue you. You had all the opportunity and you've done nothing. And I think probation wants you revoked. And on the aggravated assault, you're looking at 20 years in the prison. And it appears that you want to go to prison because that's what your actions are telling me. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. We can go off the record. So it appears that you want to go to prison and be passed around for cigarettes or dessert, because that's what's going to happen to you. Because you're young and they will think you're attractive at the prison. And I'm just being real with you. You understand? And no matter commissary money that your parents and your grandparents can put on the books for you is going to save you from being passed around at the prison. You understand? And do you understand what I mean?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you want to be passed around for ramen noodle? Because that's what's going to happen. No, I'm dead serious. And that's what happened at the Bexar County Jail. People will get passed around for dessert. Someone was sentenced to this in this court for murder. And the first thing he did at the Bexar County Jail was go have sex with somebody. Whether it was consensual or not, that case hasn't been brought to me. And I can tell you right now, your grandparents, your mother probably doesn't have enough money to put on your books so you won't be passed around for ramen noodles, cigarettes, oranges, or whatever at the jail. And it appears to the court that that's what you want to happen to you. Doing all these little crazy little tattoos you got here, trying to be Billy Bad with gang tattoos and everything. Do you understand? All right, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to think about this. You can come back in the afternoon. All right, thank you.
You speak loud and clear when you're spoken to.
All right, what's going to happen is we're going to recall you back. And we're going to recall you back on November 18th. Ms. Ferguson, we'll do a referral to felony drug court and see if he's accepted with them. And your attorney will talk with you.
Thank you.
All right, is there anything else? All right, thank you. Henson? All right, so what updates do you have before we go on the record?
I looked at the screen, Your Honor, as far as the drug court referral, and it said that he didn't meet the criteria, or he met the criteria, but he was rejected, according to the report. That was the last thing that we had.
All right, Ms. Abrams, do you have the drug court report so I can see it? All right, let me go to the email. Oh, so it's because of his history. So that's why they say they don't want him.
Yes, Judge.
Thank you. Mhm. All right, Ms. Abrams, what is the frame for DDRF?
Judge, or TPRF.
So here's the thing.
Is that when she says the time period, is that a wait time?
That's,
I agree.
he wants to know if that's a wait time. For example, he wants to know with DDRF, is that a wait time? So has he already been interviewed and he's just waiting to acceptance, or they still have to do the evaluation?
It's probably the evaluation that is scheduled for December the 6th.
All right. And then once they complete the Tacoma evaluation, will we have a better idea of if DDRF is needed or not needed?
Yes.
All right. So what we'll do for your client then is we're going to recall this back so that I have a better idea. Norma, can you recall this back for December 10th?
And I just want to make sure on the last page that I gave you the. Oh, the Tacoma appointment is on December the 3rd.
All right. So that appointment is on December 3rd. So we'll bring you back. Is December 10th enough time for us to get an update?
Yes, Judge.
All right, we're gonna bring you back on December 10th. You understand? Okay. All right, then we'll be back on the 10th.
And just so you know, Judge, his family has been here at every setting and they continue to be here supporting him.
Okay, that's a great thing.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you, Judge.
If you'll let them know that he's gonna come back on the 10th.
I will, Judge.
All right, thank you.
Have a seat, sir.
Henson? Good morning. Right, and this was a plea on one case or two?
One. You want the material? Or the new number one, I believe. The denied judge did there was a referral for felony drug court that they denied him, he was disqualified.
Okay.
And then we did the Tacoma evaluation prior to this study was completed.
All right. Court is calling 2024 CR 009236W and 2022 CR 5859 State versus Thomas Nathaniel Henson. Can I have parties announced for the record? State, defense?
Attorney Albert Osvaldo for Mr. Henson, already on.
All right. So we're proceeding first with regards to the evading arrest detention with a vehicle.
Sure.
And you're Mr. Nathaniel, I'm sorry, Thomas Nathaniel Henson? All right, so have both parties reviewed the DDRF MIC evaluation and the TAP evaluation?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
Any objections, state?
No, Your Honor.
Any objections, defense?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, according to this plea bargain agreement, the state is recommending probation in this case. And you and I had a discussion about life at the jail and at the prison. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so probation, what are you recommending for Mr. Henson?
Judge, as the
And mental health evaluation states, we are recommending DDRF. We are recommending DDRF followed by aftercare. The mixed supervision after his release, regular monthly UAs, and sober support meetings.
So DDRF, MIC, and aftercare?
Yes, Judge.
All right, how old are you? All right, so I am telling you this and I want you to hear me clearly. They don't have the Scared Straight program anymore. When I was growing up, there was always an after-school special. And I remember a Scared Straight program, and one of the guys who was the actor in it was one of the guys from The White Shadow. And so they lined up all of these young boys. They're supposed to be in high school, but back in the day, people are supposed to be playing as high schoolers, and they look like their 20s and their 30s. But they sent them to prison for Scared Straight. And so when they get to the prison, what ends up happening is all the inmates there are trying to scare them straight, saying, this is what happens to you at the prison, right? And the inmate said, do not come back here. Get your life in order. Because if you come back in here, we not friends, and you're just going to be some other inmate, and whatever happens at the prison happens at the prison. And you know what ended up happening in that after school special? They had, I think, about 6 students to go, right? So one guy doesn't listen. He comes back. And he comes there and he sees the prisoners who are trying to scare him straight. And he's like, hey. And they're like, don't know you. That's prison life. And it'll be nice if you go to prison and people just let you do your time. You don't have to watch your back and nobody's trying to sell you for any products. That would be just great. But in the real world, that's not the way the prison works. That's not the way the jail works. Because sometimes you're at the prison and you know who's at the prison? People who committed murder, people who committed aggravated assault, people who committed sexual assaults. Everybody is at the prison. You understand? And they are not going to be your friends. There's not going to be somebody who's going to look out for you and say, you know what? I'm protecting him. If they do, 9 times out of 10, they're going to want something from you. So I'm going to grant your application, but you had better start taking this seriously, because even though you're young and I consider you a child because of your age, the legal system does not consider you a child. There's always room at the Bexar County Jail. There's always room at the prison because it's for profit. You never hear them saying, oh, the prison's overcrowded. What are we going to do about this? And you know why you don't hear people going to Congress and saying, let's make these prisons better. Let's paint them. This floor is dirty. Let's make sure that's clean. You know why? Because it's not sexy. Nobody cares about it. And when I was a defense attorney, you know what people would say? That's what they deserve. Why are you trying to make it nice for them at the prison? Why do they have to lift weight at the prison? Why do they need a library at the prison? It's supposed to be all about suffering. That's the way people feel. Do I feel that way? No. I wish people could go to prison, do their time, learn something. maybe like something out of Superman 2, where they put you in the glass and you just float around and learn. But that's not the way it is. So you're gonna have to change. And if you don't change and a motion to revoke is filed, you're looking at going to prison. And no amount of your baby face and I'm young and all shucks is gonna end up saving you. You understand? And stop with all the tattoos on your face. All right, so in cause number 2024 CR 009236W, this is what the court is going to do. The court is going to grant your application. And the court, all right, the box is checked for recommendation of community supervision, but there's no requested punishment. The paperwork is incorrect. So are you all in agreement to deferred adjudication?
Yes.
All right, so if you all want to check that you all agree to deferred adjudication. All right, so in that cause number, I'm going to sentence you to 5 years deferred adjudication. This run concurrent with 2022 CR 5859. Taking consideration 2024 PF 06107, 2024 PF 06357. There should be regular reporting by Zoom or in person, regular random UAs, DDRF, mixed supervision, and followed by aftercare. And there's going to be 90 sober support meetings in 90 days upon release. There's to be no contact with Susie Castaneda. Do you have any children?
No.
That is great. There's to be the defensive driving course, and I say that because you're not ready. You got to work on yourself, and then maybe in the future, you'll be ready to be someone's father. You understand? So until you finish working on yourself, don't go out, try to have children, everything, just 100% concentrated on maintaining your sobriety and getting mental health issues under control, okay? Field visits 1 time per month for 6 months. 200 hours of community service restitution. How far did you go in school?
7th or 8th grade.
All right. I'll weigh 100 hours as he obtains his GED, and another 100 hours if you obtain a certificate from trade school. I consider improving yourself a part of community service to the public, okay? Probation, is there anything else? No. What I'm going to do is I'm putting the GED out there. If you don't obtain your GED, which you should, if you don't obtain that, then you're probably going to end up, they're going to have you out there picking up trash along the freeway, which 1 is dangerous and 2 is dirty. So this way you can improve yourself, you understand? And if you have issues with passing your GED, just let probation know and we'll work with you, all right? Probation, anything else?
That's all on that.
All right. And then, of course, proof of employment within 45 days of release, no employment as a home health care provider or with minors. All right. Did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it?
Yeah.
Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. And cause number 2022 CR 5859. The defendant previously pled true. The court found it true. Court will deny the motion. Alternate amend conditions. to include DDRF, 90 sober meetings in 90 days, place him on the MIC caseload, and aftercare. And this will run concurrent with 2024 CR 009236W. Is there anything else on that case, probation? Is there anything else you need from the court in order to be successful? All right, we can go off the record. Here's the thing. I want you to succeed. Obviously, the state wants you to succeed. That's why they wanted you to be continued. What you do with this chance is completely up to you. You understand? So this is your shot. All right, don't blow it. All right, good luck to you. You're welcome. You're welcome. Yes. Thank you.
Watch, we're on the scene. Truths unravel, and what does it mean? In the halls where stories clash, Oouchie court watch quick as a flash.